I welcome you back to the Steve Malzberg portion of America Talks Live. We want to hear from you folks. 877 Newsmax, 877-639-7629. Who won the debate? What did you think? What about the brouhaha that the media is making over some of Donald Trump's comments? We want to hear from you. Right now, we also want to hear from Tom Tancredo, former Republican congressman from the great state of Colorado, 2008 candidate for president of the United States, Breitbart columnist. Hello, Congressman.
Hello, Steve Malzberg.
So, how did we do yesterday if we are Donald Trump?
Well, I feel okay about it. I don't think there were any, as I've heard said over and over again, probably no knockout punches thrown. But I must tell you, this issue of his statement and what it portends, and oh my God, it's the end of the republic because he says he won't. He didn't know. He didn't know if he'd support Hillary Clinton if she was. Hey, I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to support Hillary Clinton if she's elected. I don't care what, and I don't support Barack Obama. And the idea that all of a sudden everybody has to fall in line because that's the way the Electoral College turns out. Well, no, it's not that way at all. And I know, in fact, he's talking about the possibility of widespread voter fraud. It is a distinct possibility. It happens everywhere. It happened in my own election. It has happened in Colorado over and over again. We have counties here that turned in more votes, Democrat counties that turned in more votes than there were people living in those counties. It's happened on numerous occasions. We've had illegal aliens voting, and when a Republican poll watcher tried to challenge them, they're thrown out of the voting booth, of the voting office. So, and that's just here. It's massive. It's all over the country. People say, well, there's there are very few prosecutions. Well, right, yeah, that's true. It's because they don't prosecute it. It's like, how many people in New York get a ticket for jaywalking? Well, not many probably, but how many jaywalk? Thousands, right. It's because nobody does prosecute that you've got massive voter fraud. The reason why they don't even want, and they fight like crazy to stop the voter ID requirement of a driver's license is because they want voter fraud. There is no other reason. You and I both know it's BS to say, well, those people, it's racist, and they'd be upset, and oh my God, they'd have to go to their safe place and their quiet place, and we'd have to give them counseling because they were asked for a voter ID. Hogwash.
No. So okay, so you don't have a problem, I think, unlike the RNC, which didn't criticize Trump but has pledged to respect the results of the election. You disagree, which I disagree too. I mean, how could you pledge right now? I mean, and then what? If there's chicanery, are you telling me, Congressman, that Hillary doesn't have lawyers and they will challenge the election if they think there was fraud?
Hey, I think it happened, didn't it, with Democrats? I think they've claimed fraud in a number of elections. I think they've taken it to court. I think they believe there's been voter fraud. But what, it only happens against Democrats? You bet that she'd be doing it if she thought, especially if she thought that she could get a sympathetic judge to rule in her favor, which she probably could.
Happened with Al Gore, did it not?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was referring to, sure.
I mean, it went on for weeks, and he didn't, the Florida Supreme Court wasn't good enough for him. He took it to the U.S. Supreme Court. So he didn't accept the results of the election. He didn't accept the results of the Florida recount. He didn't accept the results of the Florida court, and he finally took it to the Supreme Court. Yet nobody talks about that.
Time? Do you remember in the last election, the last presidential election, do you remember, Steve, that there were, I've forgotten now how many counties where there was not a single
vote for Romney. Yeah, zero.
Out of thousands and thousands cast. And they were certainly Democrat strongholds, I'll be darned, but not a single vote. Come on. Does anybody really believe out there that these things are legitimate, that it's not rigged, that George Soros doesn't own the company that has about half of the voting machines out there? I hope America sees through this. I hope and pray they do. But, it's so hard. You should Google. When you go on now and go on Google and you say voter fraud, it's about 20 things come up saying, it's ridiculous. Voter fraud. What is?
Well, we learned, that Google is at least reportedly through emails that have been found working with the Clinton campaign. If you try to Google her scandals or whatever, you know what comes up. So I'm afraid to say, sorry to say, that when I Google things, I have to look long and hard if I'm trying to find what I think I know should be there, because in my opinion, it may not be there if it goes against the liberal mantra. Now, let me ask you this, Congressman. You knew and I knew that no matter what Donald Trump did, he rocked it in that second debate, which I thought was his best debate by far, and they said he lost. So you knew he was good. They were going to say he lost no matter what. So they picked that, number one. They also picked, he said, hombre, describing drug lords and murderers who are here in this country illegally. Address that one.
Yeah, well, I was so offended I can't believe it. And I can't even tell you how I wanted to turn it off right then. He said hombre. Yeah, he said hombre. Big deal. I could have said so many times, who do you want to vote for? A rude, crude outsider or a pathological, lying insider? Who do you want? Because that's what you've got. Now, he's not the smoothest. He says some things that, people sometimes get a little upset about. But the reality, I don't care what he says. I don't care what he says. I care what she has done, and will do. That's what matters to me. I got to put all of my hope and prayers and faith in a Trump victory, and then his ability to get some things done.
By the way, I'm watching as we speak. I am looking at Donald Trump speak, and I'm reading the closed caption. And Donald Trump says he will totally accept the results. He's speaking in Delaware, Ohio. He will totally accept the results if he wins. But then he's talking right now about how, guess what? How could I say I'd accept the results if I lose when I don't know what the results are? He said, this is a campaign. Hillary's crooked. This is a campaign that will do anything. They will incite violence at my rallies. They will try anything. So how could I, before it's over, before I know what goes on, say I'll accept it? And he's exactly right.
Absolutely. He's right on the money. He said exactly the right thing. When he said it, I thought, all right, good for you. Because even in the way, even though it didn't get very far into the whole, could it be a rigged, the idea of having him just say, will you support well, what does that mean? What does that mean, support? Even, does it mean, okay, she's the president, everything she wants, I'll support? No, of course not. It doesn't mean that. And nobody in their right mind, no opponent of hers, would ever say, yeah, I'll support her. I certainly wouldn't. Would you, if you were in that situation? Would you say, oh, yeah, whatever. If she wins, hey, it's Katie, bar the door. Whatever she does, I'll accept. No, we wouldn't do it. Yep. And he shouldn't, and he didn't, and God bless him.
All right, then there's one more, and you've been up there on the debate stage, and I thought that the liberals wanted that women are equal to men. And, of course, Hillary is the smartest, probably, person ever to grace us with her presence on the face of the earth, certainly the smartest woman, most qualified woman. She's been through so much, and she never backed out. Yet the media couldn't take the fact that Trump, in response to her snarky, gratuitous, uncalled for attack on him within an answer to a question on Social Security, he shot back, that's a nasty woman. And again, oh, he's going to lose women. He didn't pick up any women because of that. I mean, what world do these people live in?
Yeah. Certainly not the one you and I hope most Americans live in. I just hope that most Americans see this for what it is. And how about her answers to, I have to put that in quote, her answers to the question about the WikiLeaks memos, the women that she has defamed, who alleged that her husband had raped and molested them. She doesn't answer any of those questions. The WikiLeaks, it's the Russians. And I've never in my life, I've never seen anything like this, where a foreign government, nobody's asking you about what the Russians, first of all, nobody knows that they've done it. She's saying it as if it's a proven fact. Number two, so what? I don't care who leaked them. Is the information in there accurate? She will never speak to it, and they will never force her to speak to it. Again, I hope America sees through this.
Donald Trump is claiming, and I probably shouldn't say, but he's claiming that, and I heard some kind of report, maybe you could help me, if that Hillary got some questions before the debate? Is that what he's talking about? He's harping on this and harping on this and harping on this, that she got the questions. Now, I can't guarantee that he's referring to the debate, so I qualify that, and I will have more on this at 7 o'clock on the Steve Molesberg Show, 7 o'clock Eastern. I hope everybody will tune in. But anyway, he's really on fire. He says we're going to win. She should drop out of the race, he said. He's going to win, and he seems confident as ever. And Congressman, you are as brilliant as ever, and it's always great to talk to you, sir.
Anytime, as long as you always end it like that.
All right, take care. Former Congressman Tom Tancredo. When we come back, John Zogby gives us his take, and Gimme 5. Don't go away.